Hello everyone and welcome to episode 27. I'm doing things a little bit differently for this episode. This bit of the video I'm recording a couple days before I publish the video, so we're going to be looking back on what happened over the last 2 or 3 weeks. And I wanted to start with the last video that I published on my main channel and its success. It's been a while since I've been excited about a video like this because this one did really well. This is probably the best video that I've had in years. A few months ago, I published that video about the reptile enclosure, the one that fell over, and that one did really well. That's sitting at about, I think at the moment, it's about 45,000 views. This last video that I did just shot past it, got to 50,000 views in maybe a quarter of the time. So it's done really well. And it's also been getting a lot of comments, a lot of engagement. So really stoked. I must say, with the reptile enclosure video, I had a good idea that it would do well, particularly with the thumbnail, you know, with the box having fallen over and me head in my hand. I knew that would be very enticing. This last video, I wasn't too confident. I wasn't expecting it to be a winner. I was pretty much resigned to the fact that this would just be a middle of the road video. So to see it do that well is it's exciting, not specifically for that video, but because 2 videos ago, I also had another winner. So hopefully this is a bit of an indication of the trajectory. The YouTube algorithm gods are working in my favor. So if I play my cards right, I've got a good chance of improving and increasing my traction going forward. One thing that I have forgotten about with being sort of in the spotlight, so to speak, is the wide array of comments that you receive. I've been doing this for long enough now that insults just go straight over. I had one person tell me that I was being pretentious. That's fine. That doesn't bother me that much. But the comments that do get to me are the ones that have an element of truth to them, or it's something that I was worried about going ahead with the video and someone's picked up on it, possibly accidentally, or they've seen through it as well. Those are the ones that really, they don't sting, but they make me question what I'm doing. So for example, someone pointed out that I've started the video moaning about Bunnings, yet I have a stack of stuff which has clearly been purchased from Bunnings. And he was meticulous. He picked up on my saw, he picks up on my drill driver bits, small things, my clamps. He knew straight away that those are all from Bunnings, so I'm being a hypocrite. Those are the comments that kind of, they hurt a lot more because there's an element of truth in it. Or in his case, there's a large amount of truth in it. So those are the ones that I struggle with a bit. And this was the first time where I've put out a video. I say the first time in year, since I've been doing YouTube, which is it's going on 9 years now, 8 years. This was the first time where I sat back and I just thought, I don't know if this is worth it. Like, I'm a dad now. I have very different priorities to when I started YouTube. And this is not a pity party. I'm not looking for any sympathy here. I think every YouTuber will get to this at some point. But I just sat back and thought, I put something out there and it gets scrutinized. Do I even want to do this anymore? And I sat on that for maybe a day where I just thought, don't get me wrong, I had no intention of actually stopping, but the fact that that thought was even entering my head, particularly on a video that was doing well, then that's the thing. Like it's amazing how that negativity just overshadows all the positivity. On a video that was doing well, I was sitting there going, yeah, this is shit. Anyway, I quickly bounced back, I pulled myself out of it. I'm certainly not going to be quitting, and certainly not on the back of this really well-performing video. Now's the time to strike while the iron's hot. So hopefully the next video is going to do well. I don't have a next video in mind. I particularly want to stick with the idea of transparency in my client commissions. So the work that I'm doing on the office internally with the desk and all of that, I don't really want to publish that next. I want the next one to be a client commission because that's what's working well. But I don't have a client commission, which is quite frustrating. Some of you may remember the concrete countertop video. That was a real winner for me. And at the time, I didn't really understand how the YouTube algorithm, well, no one really understands, but I had a very small idea of how it would work. And essentially I created that concrete countertop and then just changed direction and could never understand why YouTube wouldn't recommend me again after that. It's now many, many years later and there's a lot more information out there and transparency from YouTube's perspective about what works and what doesn't. And what they are pushing for at the moment is to stick directly in your niche, like refine it down to, a real pinpoint and make videos about that. So the reptile enclosure and this last video both have that same format with the cost breakdown at the end. So I need to make sure that the next video follows it. It's not to say that, I wish I could put out this office video now. I feel like I'm being creatively snubbed. It's not, doing a commission video is fine. That's the direction of the channel. But without getting regular commissions in, I'm kind of stuck. All right, so let's go back. It's probably about 2 or 3 weeks at this stage because I haven't put out a video on this channel for a while. And let's go through everything that's happened. I'm off to Studio Doubled this morning to try and get a little bit more of this Southern Silky Oak for the office desk. I'm just a bit short and I'm hoping they have some in stock. So talking to Joel at Studio Doubled, he doesn't believe the stuff I'm working with is Southern Silky Oak, but more likely what's happening is that it's Northern Silky Oak that's quite old. So apparently Silky Oak will turn a lot darker and redder as it ages. And considering most of the stock that I've got has come out of doors and window frames from this area, it's very unlikely that it's Southern Silky Oak. It must be Northern, which is good because this is Northern Silky Oak. This is a good piece and it's going to darken to the same color as the rest of it eventually. How you going? For the outlet of the air in the office, I was going to cover it with some pieces of plywood with some of these little holes drilled into it, just to try and cover it up and make it look a little fancy. I really wasn't happy with the way it looked, and it was taking a long time to drill all of those holes. So eventually I just gave up and rang Dan from Riverside Woodworks, went over to his place. He drew up something quickly, and in like a tenth of the time I had this really cool looking cover. So thanks for helping out, Dan. We're really happy with how this turned out. As some of you may know, I am busy building a pond outside the workshop. So that's the pond there, and all of this area, this is all going to be paved. I'm really excited because what I'm doing as part of this is working on the drainage, so I won't have this area filling up with water, hopefully, and it'll take it away. And also I'm going to get a nice pond outside the workshop, so really excited about that. I've just got a call from a delivery driver to say that the gravel or the road base and sand is on its way now. So that's going to be the last step before actually putting the pavers down, which is very exciting. I've just got back from the Atherton Tablelands, which if you're up here in the north of Queensland, you'll know what a beautiful place it is. My first time being there, and people aren't lying. It's amazing, amazing. I also got to catch up with Scott from Formy Industrious. A few of you will likely know who he is. And it was great to see his shed that he's been, or his house that he's been building over the last few years, watching it on YouTube and then actually going to it and seeing it. So it was fantastic to see him and catch up, and thank you, Scott, if you are watching this, for putting on the breakfast. It was awesome. He also made me this mallet out of some timber that he pulled out on his property. I think he said this is a grey box. And it's a mallet. Obviously, it's never going to be used to hit anything because it's far too beautiful for that. So I will put it up here on the shelf with all of my other special timber, and I might find a better place for it later. I've got the first bit of the shelf that's going to hold the tabletop in place. I've got a nice wide board in here instead of something thinner because I'm going to attach a power strip to this, and because it's timber, I can actually attach it to it. It'll be in place. It's just been nice than having all the cables running down on the floor. I've decided I'm not actually going to film this part of the project, the installation, for the main video, because I think just making the video about the desk, the end grain inlay, etc., that's going to be the star of the show. So this bit, doing all this basically DIY stuff, I'm going to leave that out. All right, now comes the tricky part of fitting the desk to the space, because this is not perfectly square. So I'm going to make a tool to do this, because otherwise I don't think I'm going to get it right. And I want this to be as snug as possible to the wall. All right, I've just finished cutting the tabletop. Crossing fingers it's going to be right first time. I don't expect it to be, but we're going to see if it fits. All right, first attempt was not successful. I've got to take a bit more off, but I was kind of expecting it to happen. It's a bit too cramped in here. Let me see if I can get it fit, and then I'll come back to you guys. All right, come on. Fifth time's the charm. Yeah. There you go. There you go. We in? We are in. Look at that. The best part of gluing on this front edge is that it's made of a very, very dense hardwood. It's very solid, very strong. And because the table is now getting glued to a perfectly flat edge, I know that this front edge of the table is perfectly flat. Instead of relying on those pieces on the wall that it's sitting on to keep it flat, this I know with 100% certainty is now flat. And that brings us to today, Sunday. This video will be going out on Tuesday, so 2 days from now. Literally 2 days after I filmed that intro, in the beginning of this video, I had an email come through about a new job, someone wanting me to do 2 vanities for a client here in Townsville. It was actually a furniture maker out in Melbourne. So this Townsville client engaged this furniture maker in Melbourne. They worked out the price. The shipping was going to be substantial. So he knew about me through the podcast and put her onto me, which obviously it makes far more sense because it's now a Townsvillian client going for a furniture maker in Townsville. This particular furniture maker, and I'm not going to go into detail now because I want to do it justice, and I'm just going to iron a couple of things out, but he has actually said to me he's going to coach me through the whole process, like how he would build it. He's a professional furniture maker. He's been doing it for a long time. I could be wrong, but I think he said like close to 100 vanities. I might be wrong there, but he's at that level where this build isn't a challenge for him. He actually quoted this client on a price before the design because he's done so many of these. He's refined it, worked it out. He knows exactly what it's going to cost. Anyway, that's all just to say that I feel in good hands with this guy helping me along the way. But the fact that he's going to help me. He said, here's a job for you. Awesome. And I'm going to give you advice, if you choose to take it, on exactly how I would do it. Amazing. Like this whole furniture making community is just, it's unbelievable. Coming from a private sector company, in an IT company, when you start in the private sector, in I think pretty much any industry, you really start at the bottom. And as you work up into your managerial positions, I would imagine it's even more in your C-level roles, it becomes very cutthroat and what's the word? Essentially, people are fighting against each other for roles. So you're not working together to build the company. There's this like internal espionage going on all the time. And I don't know, maybe the furniture making industry gets like that at some point, but so far my experience has just been, if work comes my way, I'm going to do it. But if I can't, I'm going to find someone else who can do it, not because it makes me look better, but because I can give someone else that work and do them that favor. Because he's getting nothing out of this. I mean, I've said to him, I'm going to try and include him in the video because I'm trying to get a good video theme or plot for this before I get into it. So, but I want to try and bring him in, and then also make mention on the podcast. Try and just give his company a bit of a boost as well. not that it sounds like he needs it, but at least that's what I can give back. But for him to just say, free of charge, I'm going to help you with this, is just such an amazing thing. So really stoked about this and very excited because up until now, the work that I've been doing has been very standalone. So make and earn, make that reptile enclosure. That is a piece of furniture that exists in of itself. This is a piece of furniture that gets installed in a home. So it engages builders, plumbers. So there's a bit more to it. And this is the side of furniture making that I've always been a little bit wary of. I won't do the install, but essentially there's going to be another trade, or potentially two other trades, that will handle this, critique my work, potentially look at it and go, oh wow, there's going to be two of those, and that makes the stakes a little higher. But this is where everyone keeps telling me the money's at, and hopefully this one's going to be a winner. Hopefully, we'll see. All right, that's it for this episode. I'm going to start editing now, and if you've got any comments, questions, leave it down below. Otherwise, I will see you guys in the next one. Take care.